Martin v. Mott. This case was decided in 1827, and it has to do specifically with the Militia Clause of the U.S. Constitution, which transferred the power of calling forth the state militias from the states to the federal government. Now, the federal government in 1792 and 1795 passed laws that transferred this power specifically to the executive branch and to the president. And the president used this power notably in 1794. President George Washington summoned the militia to put down the Whiskey Rebellion in western Pennsylvania. You see, there was farmers in western Pennsylvania that were being taxed on their whiskey. And they were being taxed because the government needed to pay off its war debts from fighting the Revolutionary War. Every time you fight a war, you run up a lot of debts, and the only way to pay these debts off are to tax. And so that's what the government was doing, and the farmers were very upset about this. So they rebelled. And George Washington was even more upset, so he called out the militia and put it down. The President Madison also used this militia power of calling forth the militia during the War of 1812. And a fellow named Mott refused to heed the call, and he was court-martialed, and his case ended up in front of the Marshall Court as Martin v. Mott. And writing for the court was our favorite justice, Justice Story. And Justice Story essentially wrote that it was the president who had sole authority and discretion to determine whether or not military force was needed, or in this case, whether or not to call forth the state militia. So for anyone who's interested in tracing the history of how the U.S. president got the power to unilaterally bring war, read this case.